Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay. I think this actually is working.
So we tried twice on a desktop, and
Yeah.
apparently that was not a good call. You can
Not
only do it on
not the
app.
move.
Nope, you can only do it on the app. So
You can only do it on the app.
now
but
we know.
We do know we are live. There apparently an audience is being built from us
All
for
right,
us.
that works.
So
for me.
that's cool.
I'm cool with that. So welcome. This is the first time we're ever doing the live stream on the Coming Home Newcastle page,
Yes.
Facebook page. So we're trying to get some more social media stuff going. So yeah. So we're gonna have a name. Don't worry, we'll get to a name. But
Yeah.
we have to take it slowly. We'll figure it out as we go.
We will. We will. So yeah, we should probably
You want
introduce
to
ourselves.
introduce yourself?
Well, see, here's the thing. No one's watching this at the moment, but we're gonna post this on the website. So if you miss the introduction and you're wondering, like,
Who the heck are these two
who
guys?
are these people?
You can find out later.
You can find out later. And at this point, they probably would. Okay, we'll just introduce ourselves. All right. I'm Elijah.
We got one viewer. Nice, we got one.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
All right, but yes.
At least one person's watching.
So yes, we are. Congratulations! This is your most watched live video ever. Wow,
yeah,
this
it's
is
the
great.
first one.
But yeah. So anyway, I'm Elijah Newsome. I go to Syracuse University. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I don't. No one probably knows what Syracuse is. It's where
yeah.
Carmelo Anthony went there. Donovan McNabb went there. It's really cold. Dwight Freeney. It's
Atlanta
really
Falcon player.
Atlanta Falcon. It's really cold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is the
Very
gist.
cold.
Yeah. So.
What do
That's
you do
where,
here?
yeah.
Can you
Oh,
explain what you do here.
yeah. Coming on Newcastle, I mainly do social media related things, graphics, tweeting, and Facebook posts. Yeah. Oh. Okay.
What?
Whoa.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll figure that
okay.
out later.
All right. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. That's really the main thing that I do here. I'm a sport management major here, class of 2018. So about to be done in a year.
Yeah, we got a little while, so I don't want to talk about that yet.
Yeah. All right. But anyway.
All right, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Chris McGlenn. I'm a junior here at Syracuse University as well. I am a broadcast journalism major. For Coming Home Newcastle, though, I'm one of our writers, along with a couple other people. You guys see Brian Nelson and Nikki Topping on there a lot, so I'm one of the guys that keeps filling up your Twitter notifications and all that whenever I post an article.
Yeah.
So we're excited to get this underway, and as the description says, we're going to touch on some major topics today about the Newcastle season to this point, and then kind of just go from there. We'll definitely open it up towards the end to viewer questions if anybody happens to actually be watching.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get to that point.
We will. Like, it's work in progress. This first one,
we lost our one viewer.
We've had one viewer, then he went away, and we got a different one.
Yeah.
There's people are just not, but
It takes time. We got to build a rapport.
got to build a rapport. But anyway, so yeah, well, we can start with some good news. We're second.
Yeah, no, we are
table.
second. Brighton lost recently. I wrote an article the other day. Actually, I think it came out today saying that Brighton had a game in hand on us. Thankfully, Brighton actually lost their last game, which is big for us, which means that we're only a point down and we're actually played the same number of games. I'm still disappointed with how we're doing this season. Looking at it on paper going into the year, I really figured we'd dominate this year. Not just because a lot of the teams that do get dropped usually do well, but I had a lot of faith in what Rafa could do. We're going to talk a little bit about whether or not we think he's going to stay.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot already to make this team, I think, better than it probably has been in the last 2-3 years.
The Rafa-lution.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's still a little concerning to me that through 28 matches I think we've played, that somehow we're not even top of the table with the amount of talent that I think we have compared to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
So definitely still something to be concerned about, but it's not a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, not a bad spot to be. I mean, and you got, a lot of different factors have kind of led to a recent dip in form.
Yeah,
injuries
that's true.
and
That's true.
players gone for the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yep. African Cup of Nations.
So
we lost a few.
we lost a few. So there's reasons, but to Chris's point, a lot of fans probably went into the season expecting domination, and I guess that first game against Fulham was a little bit of an awakening, but then we went on an outstanding run, and you just thought we could just dominate. So that's good news. We have to touch on some bad news though. Transfer window did not go as well as many fans thought it was going to.
Yeah, we started talking probably about, at least it seemed like people started talking about who Newcastle was going to bring in to strengthen this team or to really round out the team and really make that push for promotion by winning the championship. Probably sometime around November. And here we are in February, and just no one's here. We didn't bring anybody in the end. Obviously, Andros Townsend, who left the team last summer after we got relegated, ended up going to Crystal Palace. A lot of people pegged him as the guy that we were most certainly going to bring back. Rafa seemed really keen on doing that.
Yeah.
And in the end, it seemed like, well, now Allardyce is saying that he was never actually going to leave, which I don't know how true that actually is. But, so that's a bit of a blow. The James McCarthy deal seemed a little weird, but that would have been a decent signing for us. Obviously, there was a couple of guys looking at it loan. Ruben Loftus-Cheek ended up falling through. Tom Carney from Fulham ended up being another one that we were apparently linked to for a while that never came to fruition. So a lot of names that went out there, and it seemed like we were actively pursuing. We figured Townsend would be great on the wing, and you figured that Rafa was somehow going to find somebody to work in with Shelby.
Yeah.
And it just never happened, which is very disappointing. If you guys check out the website, I wrote an article today that went up basically saying that this is the same old Newcastle. We shouldn't be surprised by this, knowing Mike Ashley, knowing this management, and knowing what they tend to do, especially around January.
Mm-hmm.
It's just disappointing. You figured that Rafa was kind of gonna get his way and make those signings, but it just didn't work out in the end.
Especially when you saw him this past summer pretty much bring in whoever he wanted to build this team, and it's working out well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would expect, okay, things are going forward, and you knew that in order to get a manager of that caliber to stay, you had to promise him that, and to just completely kind of renege on that promise is just, classic Mike Ashley. So
yeah, definitely. So, but to that end, talking about getting him to stay, there were some rumors that was not totally certain after the window kind of slammed shut and no one came in. We got a little bit worried. Definitely, we were talking about it at the website of on the SB Nation. We were starting to wonder, is he going to stay past this season?
Yeah.
It's probably too early to say. It really will kind of depend, I think, on how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah.
But if you're Rafa Benitez, do you leave after what you've just seen this January transfer window?
I wouldn't say I'd leave just because I think that the public, I don't know, the public backlash has never really stopped Mike Ashley before, but I don't think I'd leave just because he's made time and time again this promise that he's not going to leave after the season at least. If he gets us to the next level. Now, if I'm Rafa and in some odd world we are still in the championship, I would leave because he's still a very well sought after manager. So I don't think I'd leave. I think that I would definitely want some conversation with Mike Ashley on what happened this past window, why things weren't being done, why I couldn't get things signed, why I couldn't get players signed, things like that. And for all we know, it's up in the air. The thing is that no one really knows what happened behind closed doors. People are speculating all they want. People are saying that the issue was on Ashley's end because he didn't want to splash the cash, and the issue is just on Rafa's end for not pursuing these guys hard enough and trying to drive a bargain or not trying to flip Mbemba. In the end of the day, the signings didn't happen. We don't really know why they didn't happen. There's no clear, no one's coming out and saying, hey, this is exactly what happened, this is why it didn't happen. So it's all up in the air, and you get those reports that say he wants to leave. Because, naturally so people who are not fans of Mike Ashley would easier going to say that he should leave.
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley has done this time and time again, and he's done this with a lot of different managers. Speaking of one of those managers, though, Steve McLaren, who was here kind of before at some point, Rafa, when we also had that John Carver experiment as well.
Yeah.
That one was
sounds like a great band name, the John Carver experiment.
I don't even think that sounds like a good band name. I don't actually. I'm pretty sure that.
I'd listen to him.
Would you?
No,
not at all. So the John Carver experience, that one was a bit weird. And then we ended up moving on to Rafa. But speaking of Steve McLaren, we will be playing against Steve McLaren. He'll be coming back to St. James's Park. He'll be returning. For a full preview, make sure you check out the website. Nikki Toppin put up a great preview. She's always pretty spot on with everything she writes on there.
Yeah.
Usually her team projections are within a player or two as well, so that's pretty impressive. But so Steve McLaren will be back. No, not me either. But Steve McLaren's coming back. It should be an interesting match. Darby is right now in a position where they're looking at a playoff spot for a promotion chance.
Yeah.
But they're not that far out of it. I think last I looked, let me double check here.
What are they, 7?
They're 7, and they are currently, what is it? They're currently 6 points off Huddersfield, which I believe would be the last spot, right? 5 would be the last spot for playoff spot, because then, which would be interesting actually, because as of right now we sit second, so we would play that 5 seed in a playoff. So after, of course, I'm assuming we don't catch Brighton. Which, God, I hope we do. We better catch Brighton. That's a story for a different time now. But yeah, Derby's been up and down for most of the year. They look like they're going to have some injuries right now. I was reading Will Hughes is going to be out. He was a solid midfielder for them. They also just brought in, I'm blanking on his name now, a new striker, who they're saying will probably miss, David Nugent. Will be out as well. He suffered a knee injury, so he'll likely miss this clash from St. James's. And this is a game that you feel that Newcastle kind of has to win.
Yeah, you have to win. After what happened against QPR, that kind of travesty, you're up 2 goals and...
No, they're up 2, you're up 2-1.
2-1
late in that game, and Kieran Clark, Clark actually had a decent game. He got banged around a lot. He got bloodied up for most of that match. But no matter how you look at it, that last own goal was ugly. It was absolutely just rubbish. I don't understand how there must have been some breakdown there between Clark and Darlow. But if Clark lets that go, it's Darlow's ball. There's no one near him on that play. So the fact that he made the play in itself was just a poor decision. And it cost Newcastle a point. It ended up costing us a chance to go top of the league again.
Yeah.
Which there's I believe 16 matches left, so there's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But when it's like something this tight, that makes a difference.
You want to take as many points as possible.
Yeah,
you don't want to be dropping points,
especially at home versus a team like QPR, who's
exactly.
been very mediocre most of the season.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. It's certainly something that I'm sure Rafa has addressed with the team. I can only imagine at this point. But yeah, it's just not a good start. So I think you got to compare this too. Obviously, it was FA Cup, but we crashed right out of the FA Cup with an awful loss against Oxford. That one you can pin on Rafa.
Yeah,
not Rafa's decision.
Which he got a lot of flack for it. So
yeah, rightfully so. I'm gonna try and
there it is. Okay.
We've been trying to figure that out for the last 10 minutes. But yeah, Rafa, he did. He got a lot of flack for it, rightfully so. Terrible team selection in the end, if you really look at it.
Yeah.
Leaving out a lot of guys who were doing relatively well, and playing a lot of guys who hadn't touched the pitch in a long time.
Exactly.
We saw Masidio Hadaira for
Yeah.
the first time in a while. Daryl Murphy was left out, despite the fact that he was on a pretty solid run. And I know Rafa wants to cite that he's trying to keep the team fresh. It's congested in the championship when you're playing midweek matches in addition to weekend games. But to put in probably 5 to 6 players that had no real business in starting that game, it was not a good look. Losing that thing 3-0, and it was a game that Newcastle absolutely should have won.
Yeah.
So we say that now, but you look back on it.
And to your point, I think Alan Shearer came out this week with comments saying that he just the mentality of today's players in terms of fitness is just abysmal in his eyes. He doesn't believe that like he's like back when they were playing, they'd play 2-3 matches a week and they wouldn't complain about it. And he
who witnessed that we have some technical difficulties on our end. Who witnessed that we have some technical difficulties on our end. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi's not great, but
oh
yeah, fantastic.
But that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Wi-Fi just isn't great, but we can live with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like this is a game that Newcastle, what we end up seeing out of them. Obviously, Shelby was phenomenal. I don't know if you had a chance to see his goal against Derby. I really brilliantly controlled shot, low, and it was a nice volley. He managed to keep low, keep down. That's not an easy thing. So he's in good form right now, and that usually when Shelby's playing well, our team as a whole plays well.
Yeah.
Defensively, got to clean it up. There's no other way around it. The first goal to QPR was a bit sloppy on the defensive end, not a great look, and the second one, we've already talked about that. That was just atrocious. Terrible defense.
Atrocious.
Yeah, just that terrible look in the end.
Yeah.
So I think Derby's a game we got to win, especially at home. And then after that, we actually get a nice little week off. We don't have a midweek match, which is fantastic, before we travel off to play Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton Wolves in the game on the 11th. So that the schedule is pretty kind to us before we end up playing. We play Norwich and we get Aston Villa. So the other two teams we were relegated with from last season from the Prem. I think it'll be interesting. That'll be a nice little run for us to really kind of gauge whether or not we're going to embrace the fact that, yeah, we need to step up and it's time to be league leaders and act like it, or instead we're going to flounder a bit because apparently we don't like playing midweek matches.
Yeah, Chris, speaking of kind of next season and if we belong there, do you think that we would go up, if we were to go up, saying we do go up, is it going to be another battle for relegation?
It depends. I actually talked about this a little bit in that article I put up today. If Mike Ashley learns something from this January and realizes that, yeah, you need to spend some money in the transfer window, doesn't matter what time of year, doesn't matter if it's summer or winter, to sustain your team, to continue to bring in fresh blood and to continue your success, if you learn that lesson, then yes, I think we'll avoid the relegation battle. There's been a lot of teams in the last few years that have come up and done fairly well. Brentford actually looks like they're doing decent this year. Consider the fact that Watford, I believe, last year was as high as 5th during the middle of the season. I believe the midway point they were 5th. They ended up finishing, I think, 12th. But, I mean, finishing 12th for a team that just got promoted is fairly solid returns.
Bournemouth's another one that was
Bournemouth has looked very good as well. And it's another one. I don't think it's out of the question for us to compete.
Of course, Leicester, of course, a few years back. So
Leicester, it's a mind-boggling experience. They might get relegated a year after winning the title. But
who knows?
You should check out that SB Nation blog to get that whole story. So it was definitely. I wouldn't be shocked if we actually go up there. If we do the things that we need to do in the summer, which obviously is add another winger. We've already talked about a lot of these things. We need to add somebody else to play instead of Shelby in the midfield. Not to say that Shelby should not be there, but we need somebody when Shelby cannot go, or if something happens again like what we had this year where Shelby got suspended for 5 matches. Yeah. We need someone else to fill that void.
It cannot be. That's the thing. If you're going to go this whole, we need to keep players fresh, and you're going to need a lot of quality. You need some depth, like you just do.
Yeah. I also am all for replacing Paul Dummett at left back.
That's the big thing. Is
oh my God, he hasn't been great either.
And he hasn't been great. It's just like you bring in these left back signings, the Lazar to compete with him, and I mean Kieran Clark has even played left back earlier in his career. So, but I mean he's been thriving at center back. So I don't know
up until this past match against QPR.
and so I think that's still an area of need, definitely, and for us it is definitely a solid left back. Would still be,
Yeah, solid left back, and I'm all for. They still need to add another striker. I'm waiting on Perez to really show that he's developed and become a fantastic midfielder. Oh, you know what we should probably do? We're gonna start holding this now. I'm actually watching this now. I just pulled this up. I'm realizing the fact that it's actually sideways on everyone's computer screen. How about that? Apparently, you can't rotate it. So any second now, you'll be able to see it on there. Either way,
Chris. This is weird.
It is a little weird. I don't understand.
No, this is weird because, I knew that, and then I was just going to flip it and when I downloaded the video and edited it.
Oh, all right.
And this is just really, it feels really intimate, but
It is kind of intimate. I feel like that's what Facebook Live is supposed to be.
Okay.
I don't know. We can turn it back.
We'll figure it out.
Either way.
But for now, we'll just...
So, yeah, I think that's about where we're going to wrap it up. I don't think we have any comments from anybody. I think we peaked at 3 viewers.
Okay, max. Chris, final thoughts. What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts going forward. I think Mike Ashley, I'd love for him to eventually just move on and get rid of the team and just be done with
Sell it to some oil moguls.
Whoever.
Saudi Arabia.
Just to let Rafa run the team. If Rafa's running this team, we'll be fine. But if Mike Ashley continues to call the shots, we're still going to have some issues. We're going to be in trouble.
I feel like Mike Ashley should just play FIFA and it'll fix itself.
Yeah.
On how to run it. But I am an expert in. So what was I saying?
Mike Ashley.
He should play FIFA. Like it's just I don't even know if it's like a FIFA thing. It's just a common sense. You need to spend money in today's league. It's not about player development anymore. And granted, Rafa has been killing it in the player development. Our academy is just full of potential. A lot of bright young stars there.
Waiting on Adam Armstrong.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Adam Armstrong.
Exactly. And so we're talking about guys now who are just killing in the U21s and U23s, whichever it is.
Yeah, and we had a few even that made a debut, I believe, in the FA Cup earlier this year.
The only game the game that wasn't televised that you had to write the review for.
I know, and then Nufsy was like, "Oh, it's on our website." Yeah, go figure.
But you can't be totally rely on developing players, or even if that's, I don't even know if that's what Mike actually wants. I just think he's cheap. You got to be able to spend money,
and not by Frenchmen,
and not by French, and for sake, like this guy has managed teams that are far bigger and far better than Newcastle. Like I think he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely,
I think those are my final thoughts.
I think he was at that little club called Real Madrid once.
Maybe
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I've heard anyway. Either way, that was our first time. So.
First time. It'll be on the website for those of you who missed it.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go back and rewatch for free.
And
Facebook Live,
we'll definitely be announcing the next time we do it. It'll probably be weekly.
Yeah, we're looking to do it most likely weekly, if not maybe every other week. But keep in touch.
Sometimes
guys,
we won't be on location. We might be. It's
true.
We might be not in my room.
That's true. We might be traveling a bit. Who knows? So we'll have to see.
Next one's gonna be from London, actually.
London. Okay. How are you? I don't even have a passport.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do one in Spain and Qatar.
Qatar.
Yeah, like it's spelled Qatar, but I think it's pronounced.
Qatar?
I don't know. I think it's pronounced Qatar.
Oh, you mean the future set of the World Cup?
Yes. We'll be doing live World Cup coverage.
I don't know about that.
From there,
we'll see.
We'll be interviewing the workers who are currently dying, actually, building the stadium. So
that's a sad story.
It's a sad story, but that's a sad note to end on. But that's us. This will be on the website. Anything else you have to say to the people?
Real quick, we're gonna go. Who's your player that has to have a good performance tomorrow? Against
gosh. Kieran Clark.
Kieran Clark. Yeah.
I think just because he had a decent performance. He had let in that own goal. It'd be good for his confidence. It'd be good for everyone's confidence to get a clean sheet tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm looking at likely Daryl Murphy if he's starting, or Mitrovic, whoever ends up starting up top. One of those two has got to put in a goal.
Yeah.
We need somebody. We need a striker to make something happen up there. Murphy's been on a decent run, but it looks like it's kind of coming to an end.
Remember when we thought he'd score 30 goals?
You mean Dwight Gale?
Oh, gosh.
Gale's out. Unfortunately, Gale is going to be out again, unfortunately, a hamstring injury. So I'm waiting on either Mitrovic or Murphy.
He's not scoring 30 goals.
Nope. I'm looking at either Mitrovic or Murphy to make a difference. So.
Gosh, and yeah.
All right, guys. We will see you again next week. Keep checking out the website for more content.